Okay, it's not 35, it's more than 35 minutes before the flight. Why are we not able to check these bags that we paid to check? The flight's at 5:42. You can see on the screen behind you, it's 4:59. You've been refusing since 4:45 to check our bags. Why?
You know, you recording me, it won't get you anywhere.
Yeah, neither is talking to you, miss.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at travelers who flew on Frontier Airlines and it was a complete disaster. Let's take a look.
Hi guys, so I am just jumping on real quick for a little story time about Frontier Airlines. Basically, we got the Frontier Go Wild Pass, my boyfriend and I, and we were super excited about it. It seemed like a really great opportunity to do a lot of, like small little weekend trips, things like that, without absolutely breaking the bank. So we were super excited to try that out. We had our first flight through the Go Wild Pass this week. And, the flight there was just regular Frontier issues. It's a flying bus, right? We knew that going into it. That's whatever. On the way back, we had a 9:30 a.m. flight booked for Monday morning. We showed up to the airport at 7:30. 2 hours should be plenty of time, right? For some reason, their return airport, they had an hour and a half line to check your bag. And those of you who fly, you have to check your bag an hour before your flight, right? Any other airline, any other airport, it takes you 30 seconds to check your bag. We printed the little bag tags. We had already paid for our checked bag. We had already pre-printed the bag tag. We were just waiting in line to drop off the bag, and it took an hour and a half. So we got to the front of the line, and basically they were like, too late. You missed your flight. You don't have time to check your bag anymore. And we're like, cool, so now what? Didn't help us rebook a flight, didn't help us with anything. So we had to rebook our flight ourselves, book a new flight for the following day, take an additional day off of work, pay for a brand new checked bag. None of the credits from our previous flight that was not our fault that we missed transferred over. And then Tuesday, our new flight, right? We arrive in Dallas-Fort Worth, and we're told that we have to pick up our bag and recheck it through customs. Guess what? Our bag isn't there. We're waiting for over an hour and a half, finally find some staff because there's no staff anywhere to be found. And we find out that our bag has been left in fucking Mexico. It's just been an absolute nightmare. Customer service is being no help at all. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys and highly discourage you from getting the Go Wild Pass, highly discourage you from flying Frontier. And if you have a similar story, go ahead and stitch your Frontier horror stories.
I will never fly Frontier Airlines ever again. And I'm not even a complainer. Like, a flight attendant could spit on me. There could be turbulence, a baby could be crying next to me, a grown man could punch me in the face, and I'll be like, dang, it'd be like that sometimes. Like, I don't even care. I don't even have standards. So that's how you know this was a really bad experience. And the day already starts off bad. My grandma's driving me to the airport. She hits a median. Burst both tires. I have to walk an hour to the airport. It's not looking good, bruv. Get to the airport, they delay the flight 6 hours. I don't even care at this point. I'm just like, whatever. I'm gonna watch Stranger Things and vibe. Everyone else is like really upset. They're calling Frontier. They're like, how could you do this to me? And Frontier's like, that's on you guys. You shouldn't have flown with us. Like, literally, people are like, can we get some money? And they're like, maybe we'll give you a $50 voucher. Like, it was just crazy. We get on the flight. I'm like, hallelujah, thank God. The pilot goes on air and he's like, hey everybody, I got some bad news. Huh? So I actually ran out of hours, so I can't fly you guys. Sorry, get off the plane. They dead ass kick us off this plane. And so everyone's like, we're like, now off the plane, everyone's like, okay, so who's gonna fly this plane? Like, are you guys gonna get a pilot? And Frontier's like, of course not, silly. Tomorrow though. So people are like, where are we gonna sleep? And they're like, there's a floor right over there. This one lady goes, where are the cameras? Where are the hidden cameras? Because it was really feeling like a joke at this point. Like, they delayed the flight 10 hours. We get on the flight and then they're like, psych. They're literally the McDonald's of airlines. Like, I will start doing pyramid schemes, tap in, so that I never have to fly with these people ever again. I go to my cousin's and I sleep there. I wake up, come back in the morning, and I can't find the gate. There's no signs like, oh, the gate's here. And I go online, still can't find it. I call Frontier and I'm like, where is this gate? And they're like, oh, silly, that flight that boarded yesterday. And I was like, no, they kicked us off. And they were like, oh, well, you try to find the gate, good luck. So I don't find the gate because that's really hard to do. And I missed the flight and I start crying. And luckily for me, this black girl comes up to me who works there and she's like, what's wrong? And I tell her everything and she's like, oh, and this woman was an angel. And she puts me on a free flight to Cancun because I was supposed to go to Miami, then Mexico City.
Okay, y'all. So today I'm bringing you with me on my $88 Frontier round trip flight to Houston from Chicago. And I'm just going to bring you along with me. I already got an email from them saying my flight was going to be 45 minutes delayed. But then to check at this website, so then I checked at the website and the website says it's on time. So I'm kind of confused already, but we'll just see how it goes. So fuck Frontier. The flight got delayed 3 hours, so I'm laying down in the airport. I have to pick up my rental car at 11 o'clock, but I'm not even supposed to get there until 11:15. So guess I'm out of my rental car money, and I have to sit here for fucking... We are finally boarding the plane about 3.5 hours later, so... terrible. Y'all, so I made it with literally probably like 10 minutes to spare. The plane's already here, but at least it's on time this time.
So I missed my flight today, and this was the first ever flight I've ever missed in my entire life. I've traveled to over like 25 countries, and I've never missed a flight. So understandably, I don't know what I'm supposed to do when I miss a flight. I'm flying with Frontier, and this is important because you know Frontier. I'm flying with Frontier. I make it to my gate. I go to my gate. I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry I missed my flight. Can you help me? Like, I don't know what to do. The gate agent, shout out to the gate agent. She is sweet, even though she did piss me off. She was like, this flight is about to board. I can help you afterwards, or you can go to this other counter that's over there. So I go to the other Frontier counter. These people go, I'm sorry, we can't help you. You got to go back to the counter. I'm like, okay, cool. Where's the counter? They're like, just go towards the signs that say baggage claim. I am in Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson International Airport. If you know anything about Atlanta Hartsfield International Airport, is that where baggage claim is nowhere near the gate. So this Frontier employee asked me to go all the way back out to baggage claim, all the way back out to the front of Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson International Airport to get rebooked, even though the other agent told me that it is actually possible to rebook me back at that gate. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna do that. So I go back to the other lady that said she can book me, but she's like busy, boarding people on the plane. And I'm like, hey, do you mind if I just sit here and wait until you're done boarding? And then, we can work together to try to find a new flight. She's like, sure. So I sit and wait. She's done boarding. I go up there to get the flight rebooked. She's like, okay, let me look up some new flights. She's like, all right, so there is another flight if you want to leave out today, but it's not a nonstop flight. Keep in mind, I am going from Atlanta to Cincinnati, a 1-hour flight. She's like, there's no nonstop flights anymore today. There's one with a layover though, so it goes from Atlanta to Tampa. I'm like, okay, not ideal, but okay, sure. How long is that flight, by the way? 19 hours. 19. I start dying laughing because I'm like, why would I take a 19-hour flight over a 1-hour flight? So I'm like, no, that's not gonna work. Do you have any other option? Yeah, I have this other one. It stops in, say, for example, she said it stops in Philly and then it's Philly to Cincy. I'm like, okay, cool. How long is that one? 27. She looks me dead in the face and says 27 hours. Granted, I was not mad at her at all. I was dying laughing the whole time because, she's just doing what I asked. I asked her to find me a flight at least today. And that she did, but why? Why would I want that? Anyway, long story short, y'all, I just lost the money on the flight and booked another one with the Delta. Hella expensive, but we made it. Frontier, count your days. Just because. All of this was my fault, but count your days.
Airlines is the absolute worst airline to ever travel. Let me tell y'all this nonsense here. Okay, so just coming back from a beautiful time in Jamaica. Actually, let me start from the beginning. I made the mistake of being kind of last minute buying my plane tickets. So it was one of the cheaper options, and it was not cheap at all, but it was one of the cheaper options of getting a plane ticket from Cincinnati to Jamaica, Montego Bay. So we have a connection through Atlanta. I know, the worst airport to have a connection through. Just in general, it's always some nonsense going through Atlanta. We leave. We actually get there 30 minutes early. Why are we waiting on the tarmac for 2 hours in Atlanta once we got there? And when I say 2 hours, I mean we were waiting not at a gate or anything like that. We were all shoulder to shoulder. It was packed. They didn't offer us a snack, a canned soda, a water. They gave us half a cup of their sink water, whatever. Tasted like toilet. Couldn't even drink that. Now, that was just the beginning. But coming back, that was some absolute BS. So let me tell you what happened. We are leaving Montego Bay, supposed to be leaving at 10 a.m. We have a connecting flight through Atlanta again at 3 p.m. Okay? About 3 hours in between. First and foremost, our flight was delayed over 4 hours. We didn't leave till about 2:30. We're asking about updates and stuff like that. Like, hey, what's going on? What's the delay for? You know, just because who doesn't want to know? We're met with attitude. You just need to sit down and have a seat. Excuse me? The crazy thing was the gate agent wasn't even talking to me. This is before she was talking to the person in front of her, who I heard politely ask, could you please give us an update on what is going on? So it's finally time to board. I have never in my life dealt with such chaos at boarding times. There was no zones called. It was just people up, people all in groves. It was maybe like 3 gate agents. They weren't like standing in the front. They were just like random segments in the line. I don't know if they were checking tickets or what. I forgot to mention, when we first got to Atlanta from Jamaica on that flight, the flight attendant makes an announcement that, oh, by the way, the back of the plane is really bottom heavy and the plane is starting to tip. So we need you guys to get off quickly, right? Chaos immediately. First of all, what, ma'am? People are like, oh no. They're starting to like shove people, getting out of their seats, trying to run to the front. Like, there could have definitely been a better way to handle that situation, if that was the situation. Okay. So when we finally get to Atlanta, we have to go through and pick up our bags because it's an international flight, which took forever. Then we had to wait for a shuttle to take us all the way back to the front of the building. I'm going to show you the line, how long and ridiculous it was. So I don't know if you could see or not, but there's hundreds of people in line. So we finally get to the front of the airport again for us to get back in line for Frontier so we could try to be rebooked. Mind you, almost everybody that was on the flight needed to be rebooked. And also, remember I told you going to Jamaica, that flight where we got there early and then we ended up sitting on the tarmac for 2 hours? There were 14 people on that flight that just missed their connection and they had not a care in the world. Okay, so we in line, finally get to the counter. Now, I'm trying to let this lady know we just came from Jamaica. We missed our connecting flight. We need to be rebooked. When I tell you there was not an ounce, and I mean not even an ounce of customer service that was given. First of all, why do you have an attitude with me because I need your assistance when it's your job? I'm dealing with this lady. She's over talking me while I'm trying to explain. So hold on a second, ma'am. I need you to take a moment and listen. Listen to what I need. And then we can go from there, or listen to what the situation is. How are you talking? And you don't even know what exactly I need right now. I didn't give her my name, destination, none of that. She already telling me what she's not going to do. So I was told because this was a flight that was delayed due to weather, it was not their responsibility. So she was not going to rebook me on anything. And guess what? She did not. So I said, how are you going to help me? Now, first of all, I said, this is a very expensive ticket as well. It was, I understand weather happens, but also it was on your carrier through both of them. So you need to be rebooking me. She said she would help me by charging us, it was two of us, $500 each to get rebooked to go home. Already with the thousands of dollars we spent on this ticket, you want me to spend an additional $1,000 to get home? Absolutely not. So then I asked the lady, can you please give me your name? Because I'm going to be reporting you. First of all, she acts like I'm not standing there. She doesn't say anything. Then she says, Ashley, just give some random name. And then I'm going to show you her picture. This is the older Middle Eastern lady that would not help. I ain't going to show the whole picture because I don't know what the security breach thing are. But ma'am, you are no Ashley. Okay? You and I both know. So then, and you also have on a name tag. So you lied and said you were a supervisor. I asked your name. You didn't want to give it. And then you're not giving me customer service. Mind you, the lady next to me is hysterical. She missed her flight because her dad is in hospice and she needs to try to see him that night. She came all the way, I forgot where she was coming from, but she came all the way and they refused to help her as well. Wanted her to charge $800 and then, like a little razzle dazzle on top, the gate agent with the attitude says, and if you want to buy the ticket, you need to recheck your bag. You need to pay for another bag. What, ma'am? So Frontier, go ahead and stop advertising those cheap, low flights because by the end of the day, after you pay for the seat, the ticket, if you want to check a bag, you want to put a carry-on bag, guess what? They're going to charge you $100 and they make you put it in this little bin. I didn't have the issue, but they heckled everybody. So you're going to pay $100 if you want to put a backpack under your seat. They're going to charge you, if you want to sit next to the person, $60 for a seat to sit in the back of the plane each? What? Baby, if you need a swallow of water, they will charge you. So if you are a flyer, and I know this was my mistake because I didn't know, but I will never, and I mean ever, give another dollar to Frontier. And I highly suggest if you have some important places you need to go and you need to be back at a timely thing, do not fly Frontier. They do not care at all. If you have whatever the situation is, they will not help you. And then you can't even call directly unless you travel the day before or the day after. Get y'all stuff together. And on a positive note, if y'all have not been to Montego Bay, Jamaica, or Jamaica at all, I mean, it is a beautiful place. They have beautiful tourism, excursion, things like that. Go ahead and help yourself and go be safe and go travel. Travel and see what they have out there. I had an amazing time, okay? Other than the travel experience with Frontier trying to ruin my trip there and back. Also, American Airlines, thank you. Because we ended up buying tickets to get back home the very next day. And I had to pay for a hotel, okay? That was crazy. Anyway, we ended up buying tickets on American Airlines the next day, even coming back into the airport. Starting in the line, greeting, hello, how are you? How can I help you? Smiles. Why don't y'all take notes from other successful carriers? Then you won't have somebody.
Okay, get ready with me while I talk about my awful flying experience trying to get to London a couple weeks ago and ignore the weird talking. I've got a teeth whitener on. Okay, so starts off, everything should be fine, right? I'm supposed to leave around, I think, 1:50 with my flight out of Frontier. I was going to fly to LaGuardia, and then from LaGuardia, I had to transfer to JFK, where I'd then be flying JetBlue to get to London Heathrow. The weather looked like it was okay, didn't look like anything wrong was wrong there. And so we're about to board the plane, when all of a sudden they say, nope, sorry, we have a maintenance issue on the plane. So now we are rescheduling, and we are flying at 3 p.m. So they say, okay, we are now leaving at 3 p.m. The app updates at 3 p.m. All of the boards, that they have at the airports, they show the flight times and departure and all that. All the updates at 3 p.m. Everything is showing that we are leaving at 3 p.m. So I'm like, all right, cool. But I don't want to sit here and wait for 2 hours just sitting here. So I decided to go to the bar that is literally right next to my gate. I think my gate is A2 and the bar is right next to A1, so it's right next to me. So I go over to this bar, I order a drink, I constantly have like my phone out, I keep refreshing my app, I keep paying attention to the board that's like right near me where I can see all of the like flight departure details. Everything is still saying that this is leaving at 3 p.m. So flashboard, it's like 2:30 and I'm like, all right, like I'm just gonna go over to the gate now because, you know, I imagine we're gonna be boarding soon. So I go over to the gate and I'm sitting there and there's like no one there, and I'm like, okay, this is a bit sus, right? But I sit down, I wait, everything is still indicating that we are leaving at 3 p.m. So I'm like, okay. A couple comes over and they're like, hey, are you going to LaGuardia? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, on the 3 p.m. flight that used to be 1:50 or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And they're like, okay, because where is everyone? And I'm like, I'm wondering the same thing, right? So finally, a Frontier worker comes over, right? And they're like, oh, that flight left like 5 minutes ago. And all three of us are sitting there like, I'm sorry, what? What do you mean? It left, it was scheduled to leave at 3. It changed to 3 o'clock. Everything says 3 o'clock. And they're like, oh, well, I think they made an announcement. And this couple that was next to me is like, we were at the bar right there. We didn't hear an announcement. And I was like, I was at the same bar. I didn't hear an announcement. So we're like, what do you mean the plane took off? Everything here says 3 o'clock. Now, look, is part of it my fault? Maybe. Maybe I should have just stayed there. Sure. But, again, they completely changed the time to 3 o'clock. So maybe it's my fault for not hearing the announcement or showing up there. But it's not entirely my fault. If you change the flight to 3 o'clock and everything indicates 3 o'clock and you make one little announcement that says, actually, we're leaving now, there's an issue. And now I'm just like in tears over here because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get to New York on time. I'm going to miss my flight. Like, it's just absolutely, it's impossible. There's like nothing else like flying from Frontier that day. I go out to like the main, I had to go all the way back out through security all the way to the front desk or whatever, and was like, do you have anything else leaving? And they're like, well, there's nothing else leaving for New York today from Frontier. And like, again, I'm just in tears. I'm like, oh my god, like there's no way. I'm like trying to look up other flights. Like, I'm not gonna make this. I think it was a 9 p.m. flight from JetBlue, JFK to Heathrow. I'm like, there's no way. I ended up having to completely pre-book through American Airlines that was leaving that night. So like my flight was at 6 p.m. It was delayed, but it got to JFK, and then my flight to Heathrow was also delayed. It didn't end up leaving until like 1 a.m. So it was a very long and stressful day. So meanwhile, I'm like, okay, this is like unacceptable from Frontier. Okay, it took them about 0.2 seconds to update the app and update the boards in the airport to say the flight was leaving at 3 o'clock, but they couldn't update it to say, actually it's leaving at whatever it was, 2:25. So I sent an email and I'm like, what is going on? And they're like, sorry, we can't give you a refund because you were already counted as a no-show. I checked it online the day before. I was there, ready to go for my flight, ready to check in, when they said, sorry, we're delaying it till 3 o'clock for a maintenance issue. And then I was included as a no-show. So, thanks so much, Frontier. I won't be back. Also, I paid for this flight in miles. I paid like 10,000 miles, and then I think I paid like $50-some for the carry-on bag. So you're telling me they couldn't just like refund me 5,000 points or just the money for the carry-on? Come on, Frontier. Let's do better.
And you think you're gonna check me in? I bet you we won't.
I paid for a ticket.
And you paid $25 for agent assist fee, and you checked in 3 hours later. Hello.
I just said that I.
You gonna get on your flight.
Yeah, I just said that I would pay the $25.
And you thought you were gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight.
I literally paid for a ticket. I'm here 30 minutes. I'm here 30 minutes before my flight, and they're not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight.
Because it's a policy. We don't control that.
And you will never fly.
You were about to let me check in. You were about to let me check in, and you decided that you ain't gonna let me check in.
Make me check you in.
You literally work for a company that I bought a plane ticket for. I'm here 30 minutes before the flight.
Can you please leave, sir?
No.
Can you please leave my personal space?
I'm not in your personal space.
You're in
This
my
is
face.
not your
I work
personal
here.
space.
This is my stationary.
This is not
I'm at
your
Frontier.
personal space.
Made that flight. You did.
Work for a company. This is not your personal space.
We ain't gotta worry about it. We ain't gotta worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it. You're literally not doing your job for a customer that has paid for a plane ticket to get home.
I told you to stop putting the camera on me, sir.
I'm literally here at Frontier. I bought a ticket and they are not letting me check in. For no reason whatsoever.
Well, you said you're never flying the airline again, so we might as well help you out and have you not fly the airline.
I've already bought a ticket. I've literally already bought a ticket, and this is your reaction. Work for a company.
Here recording for my safety, and I have a passenger that's sitting here threatening us, saying we're going to check him in because you got here 3 hours.
That's not a threat. I bought a ticket. That is your job to check me in.
I'm just standing here recording.
I literally bought a ticket for this airline, and they're refusing to check me in.
Hello.
Because they're personally offended that I said that I need to check in.
Frontier Airlines. Thank
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
The birthday of my ticket's wrong.
It's wrong.
They're 100% not letting me check in. They're refusing to check me in for zero reason.
He's mad because he's trying to check in 3 hours after the flight.
My flight is in 45 minutes.
Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to help a customer, and can you lower your voice?
No,
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you.
I can't. That's unfortunate for you.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Without $25.
I got here well before 9 o'clock. This is a 9 o'clock flight that I'm already paid for.
Thank you. That's fine. Oh, your birthday. You want to look dumb and look stupid? Here you go.
You're literally doing the exact same thing I'm doing.
Right here.
I paid for a ticket. How are you unsafe? Because a customer...
Because you're standing in my personal space.
I'm not... This is not your personal space. This is literally a company, and I am a customer. Yes,
so I was going back and forth. I was going back and forth on even telling this story because I'm not a complainer. Like, it's not like I don't enjoy complaining. It's not my favorite. But if I can save one person from booking with Frontier Airlines, it's worth it. I don't even know what my hair is doing right now. I don't even know. Where do I begin? So most of you guys know I flew to Washington recently to see my grandmother, all my friends and family. It was beautiful. I flew with Alaska. Always go with them. I had a two-way trip. I flew there with Alaska, back with Frontier. The way there was seamless, perfect, executed well. People were so kind, perfect, like nothing went wrong. Then I got back. I get a text message that my flight's delayed. I keep getting messages on my way to the airport with my mother that your flight's delayed 20 minutes now, 30 minutes now, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, which I'm like, let me see on their website. I see, I'm scrolling. I'm just like, okay, let's see what they do to compensate you for that. They literally say 3 hours or more, and we give you a meal voucher, a refund, we give you a rescheduled flight change, all the good stuff. And I'm like, cool. I just got a message saying it was gonna be 3 hours and 20 minutes now delayed. Bet. I'm going to the airport like, cool. I went straight, boom, check-in counter like, hey guys, I'd like to check in. This lady goes, no, ma'am. We can check you in, but it'll be $25. I said, to do what? To check me in? Like to write that I'm here and give me my boarding pass? And she was like, yeah, it'll be $25, but you can download our app and then it's for free. And I said, okay, all right, okay. And so I circle back into their little waiting area and I download the app and I check in. And I'm like, cool. I go back to the counter and she's like, okay, do you have a carry-on? I said, yeah, I just have my purse in this carry-on. I'm not checking in any luggage. She goes, okay, did you put that you have a carry-on on your app? Because that'll be $60. I said, what? And she was like, yeah, that'll be $60. And I said, you're not even, but you're not carrying it. I'm carrying it. It's my carry-on. I'm carrying it onto the plane. You're not even like doing that hoist thing where you're putting it on the belt. Like, it's my carry-on, but it's $60 extra. And she was like, yes, ma'am, that'll be $60. I said, okay.
So I pay the $60 and the person is like, okay, yeah, now your flight looks like it's about 3 hours and 45 minutes delayed. I said, that's fine. I'm already here. I can wait. That's fine. But your website says that if it's 3 hours or more, I can get a meal voucher or a full refund, or rebooked. And they say, oh no, it's 4 hours or more. I said, but your website says 3 hours. To which this man comes up and he says, oh, that's outdated information. And then I got to talking to this woman. We're going to call her Bridget. She was top tier. Best part of the whole experience. We're going back and forth because I have time for it. I'm here for it. I now have 4 hours of time for it to do nothing. I said, do you see where my flight is right now? Like, can you even tell me if it's left yet? Bridget said, no, I don't have a crystal ball. I said, that's great. I don't think you practice witchcraft, but can you see if my plane took off yet? And she said, no, I can't. I said, but I see in the reflection of your glasses, you could see something. So can you see if my plane took off yet? And she was like, I can't see that. I said, okay, so what can you see? And Bridget said, well, I can tell you that it's 3 hours and 45 minutes delayed. I said, okay. I was like, can I get anything for this? I was like, can you get me a meal voucher so I don't look homeless and fall asleep in the airport for 6 hours? Like, can I just get anything for my time? And she goes, yeah. And she hands me a refund card. She says, if you contact us about a refund, we'll process it in 8 to 10 days. I said, okay, cool. And then we'll call him Michael. Michael walks up and he's a supervisor. So I'm like, Michael, I know you can help me with something. And he's like, yeah, this is literally, I'm not even joking. He goes, yeah, what do you need? And I was like, okay, I would like something to compensate my time. I now have to be here for 4 hours instead of 2. All these things. And he's like, no, if you want, you can reschedule with another airline. Okay, you can go with Alaska, you can go with anybody else, but we're not gonna do any of that for you today. Okay, so you have a choice. I said, Michael, are you having a bad day? Michael, are you having a bad day? You sound like you're having a bad day. And he was like, no, I'm having a great day. I got a lot of staff. I got great people around me. I'm not doing this. You can go book another flight. But that I'd have to pay out of pocket for that, right? And he was like, yeah, you would. And I said, okay, well, I said, your website says that I get these things if my flight is delayed. He was like, no, you don't get any of that because it's uncontrollable. It's the weather. In Arizona, the thing is too hot for the planes to land. I said, it's too hot. I was like, I've never heard of that. Michael, I've never heard of that. What? Who? It's Arizona. It's always hot. It's always hot, Michael. But yeah, he wasn't having any of me. He was like, have a good day. Have a good day. To which I gave up. I said, okay, Bridget, I will take the card. I'll take the refund card. So she handed it to me. I said, is this going to do anything? And she was like, yeah. I mean, I've never seen it do anything, but like, yeah. And I said, okay, cool. I call Frontier customer service. There's no call center. They don't have a call center. They shut down their call center. So I don't talk to anybody. I get an AI bot on my phone that consistently is redirecting me. So I can't talk to anybody about my experience. So I go in, TSA, it's fine. Everything's fine. I get to the gate. I see on my ticket, my gate is S9B. I can't find S9B. I'm circling the airport like a lost puppy. Can't find S9B. There's no S9B. I see S9A and S9, no S9B. And I'm like, you know what, Teresa, you're tired. Go take a little nappy nap. And then wake up and you'll be more energized. And maybe you can see where S9B is because you're the problem right now. So I take a nap and I set like 8 alarms so I don't forget to wake up and miss my flight because I'm terrified of missing my flight. So I wake up after like 30 minutes of a nap and I stretch and I'm like, cool, let me go find my gate. Again, I'm looping the airport. I need a Fitbit on because I guarantee you it was at least 30,000 steps. So I try to find somebody that works there. And I find this guy and I'm like, hi, do you work here? He was like, yes. I said, great. I said, what is your name? And he was like, G. I said, your mother named you a letter? Who? I said, what is your name? And he was like, Jerron. My name is Jerron. I said, great, Jerron. I need your help. I can't find S9B. Can you help me? He was like, oh yeah, it's S9. I said, no. It's at S9B. If there's an S9A, there has to be an S9B, and I cannot find it. He was like, okay, let me look up your flight. I give him my flight number. He types it in his little computer. And he's like, oh no, you're supposed to be at F4, which is way across the other side of the airport. And I say, great, Jerron. Perfect. Thank you for your help. Super sweet guy. No problems there. I go to F4. And I'm like, hi, I'm here to check in. I'm just here to make sure my flight takes off from here. And she goes, no, this is going to Las Vegas. You're going to want S9B. I say there is no S9B. In this entire airport, there's none. I've looked everywhere. Unless it's hiding in the gift shop, I cannot find it. And she goes, yeah, it's right by S9A. It says S9. I said, that's not S9B, ma'am. That's S9. And she was like, it's the same thing. I said, it's not the same thing, because an S9A, there has to be an S9B. So she says, just go wait over there. I said, okay, I'll go wait. And so I go back to S9. It's a completely different airline. And then who do you think pops up to help me? Michael. Classic Michael move. He's everywhere. Michael's standing there yelling at everybody because of their bags, because their carry-on bags have to be literally the size of their fist to get on the plane, apparently, even though we're paying $60 for it. So he's there, and I'm like, I just need to know that this is the way that Frontier Airlines is flying out of here back to Arizona. It's where I'm going. And they're like, yeah, this is the right terminal. And I say, it's not S9B, this is S9, but okay. So I wait there for another 2.5 hours to fly away back to Arizona. All in all, I would not, 0 out of 10, recommend Frontier Airlines to anyone. I promise you that $79 flight is not worth it. It's not. I found out the hard way. It's not $79. It's $79 plus a quarter of your lifespan, plus a $60 charge for your own carry-on bag, plus the rudest employees, minus Bridget, that you've ever met in your life. And they don't care about you. They don't care. They're not giving you snacks on the plane. No. You thirsty on a Frontier airline flight, you drink your spit. You want a snack? You eat your gum. Okay? You eat your gum that you brought on your carry-on that you paid $60 for. That is your snack on Frontier Airlines. That is how my Frontier.
Okay, y'all, so after hearing these horror stories of travelers who flew on Frontier Airlines, I want to know, would you personally still travel on Frontier Airlines after hearing these stories?